Did you know that some beaches around the world are famous not only for their beauty, but also for the dangerous animals that live there? Let's talk about two of these beaches, which might even scare you a little, but are super interesting. First, we have Guns Bay Beach in Australia. This beach is so famous for being home to many great white sharks that people call it the shark capital. Believe it or not, it's a place where you can see these amazing, but scary, sea predators. Don't worry, they don't usually attack people without reason, but of course, for those who love surfing or swimming, it's always good to be cautious. Great white sharks are known for being big and fast, and they live in colder, deeper waters like those at Guns Bay. Just imagine diving in and coming face to face with a shark that big. Quite the adventure, right? And if you think that's scary, you'd better not visit Bikini Beach in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific. This beach, in addition to having some sharks, became famous for another pretty curious and dangerous reason. In the 1940s and 1950s, the US government conducted nuclear tests there, meaning atomic bombs were detonated underwater, which completely changed the underwater landscape and left the area radioactive. Not to mention that some of the sharks living in these mysterious waters can be much more aggressive. Even though today the beach is known for being a great place for diving and exploring shipwrecks, anyone daring enough to go there has to be careful because the area still carries the remnants of the nuclear tests. Now picture this, a beautiful beach full of sharks and with a history of nuclear explosions. Wow, it's like an adventure movie, right? And maybe one day you decide to visit these beaches, but always with great caution, because even the most paradise-like beaches can hide unexpected dangers. So, what do you think? Would you have the courage to swim in a place like that? If you enjoyed this story, stay tuned, because we have even more beaches and places with fascinating dangers ahead. Let's change the scenery a bit and travel to the cold of Alaska, where things get wilder and, of course, much more dangerous. If you love the idea of seeing incredible animals up close, Katmai National Park is probably on your list. This park is famous for having one of the largest populations of brown bears, huge and powerful animals that walk around there with great ease. The problem is that, although bears are amazing to observe, they're not very friendly toward humans. The brown bears of Katmai are known for approaching areas where tourists usually walk, especially near rivers where they fish for salmon. They are excellent hunters, and when they're hunting, they become very focused. If you get too close to a bear, it might think you're a threat, which could make it attack. Even though they seem calm, brown bears are quite unpredictable, and since they are so large, any encounter with one can be dangerous. The most impressive thing about Katmai National Park is that visitors often find themselves just a few meters away from these wild animals. Some even say they can see the bears fishing or bathing in the rivers. But what's fascinating to some can be terrifying to others. In a place like this, it's essential to always be accompanied by experienced guides and follow all safety rules. Alaska's wilderness is beautiful, but it requires a lot of respect. Did you know that bears have an incredibly sharp sense of smell and can detect food from miles away? This means that if you're carrying something with a strong smell, like a snack, you should be extra careful. Alaska's wild nature is not a place to be reckless. Brown bears are very strong and fast, so even if you're in a safe spot, it's always a good idea to stay alert and keep a safe distance. If you ever want to visit this amazing park, remember that Alaska is not just beautiful. It's also a place full of challenges with its own risks and mysteries. Leaving Alaska and heading to the beaches of the African continent and the waters of Australia, we encounter another type of danger: poisonous creatures. While these parts of the world are known for their natural beauty, they're also home to some of the deadliest animals on Earth. In South Africa, For example, South Africa's beach is famous for its crystal clear waters and stunning landscapes, but it is also home to giant sea snakes, such as the cobra. These snakes can be very hard to spot as they stay underwater, but the danger is real. The cobra is a highly feared venomous snake, with venom that acts quickly on the human body and can be fatal in minutes. If someone gets bitten, the venom can paralyze muscles and affect the nervous system, and without quick treatment, survival is unlikely. These snakes are generally shy and prefer to avoid human contact, but if they feel threatened, they may attack. On the other side of the world, in Australia, the waters also hide an even more deadly threat, the jellyfish known as the box jellyfish. It is considered one of the most venomous creatures on the planet. Its venom is so potent that, upon contact with the skin, it can cause extreme pain, paralysis, and even death. It moves effortlessly through the water, and often swimmers don't even notice its presence. The sting can be so painful that it is compared to an electric shock, and the venom acts so quickly that without proper treatment, it can be fatal. Despite the dangers, it is important to remember that these animals rarely attack without reason. They prefer to stay away from humans. The key to staying safe in places like South Africa or Australia is to always pay attention to safety tips and wear protective gear, such as proper clothing for swimming in areas known for these dangerous animals. Additionally, local guides always have good recommendations to help tourists avoid the most risky spots. Nature, with its unique beauty, also comes with its challenges, and knowing how to protect yourself from snakes, jellyfish, and other poisonous creatures is essential to enjoy the best of the wild world without taking risks. Let's travel to a very different place, Sentinel Island, which is located near Indonesia. This place is unique because it is inhabited by a tribe that lives completely isolated from the rest of the world. They are known as the Senenleses. If you were near this island, you would probably have to keep a large distance, because any attempt to approach might result in a very hostile reaction from the locals. The Senenleses have their own culture and, for thousands of years, have lived without contact with other civilizations. They are known for attacking anyone who tries to invade their territory, even if the person is only trying to study their way of life or help them. They use bows and other handmade weapons to defend their land, and this happens without exception, no matter who the visitor is. If someone tries to get too close without being invited, they risk being attacked. This is something very important to remember if you ever plan a trip to Indonesia or areas around the island. But why does this tribe act this way? Well, the Senenleses have been living this way for centuries, without any interaction with the outside world. For them, any visitor is seen as a threat to their way of life. They are very protective of their land and culture, and contact with the outside world could pose dangers, like diseases they have no immunity to, or even the loss of their traditions. Many countries around the world respect the Senenleses' desire to live in isolation, which is why there are laws that prohibit any approach from tourists or researchers. This is done to protect both the tribe and the visitors, as contact can be dangerous for everyone involved. Sentinel Island is a powerful reminder of how some cultures keep their way of life untouched, away from external influences. So, if you're thinking about exploring remote islands, it's always worth remembering that not all places are meant to be visited. Some lands are sacred and protected by those who live there, and respecting these boundaries is essential for the preservation of their history and survival. In addition to sharks, snakes, and even isolated tribes, the marine world and nature in general are full of creatures and phenomena that can be quite dangerous. Did you know there's a tiny animal, but super poisonous, that can be fatal? I'm talking about the blue-ringed octopus. It's small, with bright colors, and looks very pretty, but what many people don't know is that it carries a very potent neurotoxin. If it bites someone, the person can become paralyzed in just a few minutes, and without quick medical attention, they could even die. Because it's so small and has such a fascinating appearance, it's easy to be tempted to get close to it, but this can be extremely dangerous. And if you think the waters are calm, be careful of another deep-sea enemy, the Portuguese man-o'-war. It's a creature that even looks like a sea plant, but don't be fooled. It has tentacles that can cause intense pain and even death. These tentacles contain venom that can paralyze muscles and affect the nervous system of anyone who gets too close. And you know what's even scarier? Even when the Portuguese man-o'-war is dead, its tentacles can still be active, ready to attack anything that touches them. What makes encounters with this creature so dangerous is that they are often nearly invisible in the water, floating peacefully until you accidentally come into contact with them. These are just a few examples of marine creatures that should be handled with extreme care. Even animals that seem harmless at first glance can be deadly. That's why, if you ever find yourself at the beach or engaging in water activities, always follow local guidelines and avoid touching any marine creature you're not familiar with. The ocean is full of mysteries and wonders, but it can also be treacherous. Remember, your safety is the most important thing. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this journey through the most dangerous beaches and places in the world. The planet is full of wonders, but also challenges, and it's always good to be informed and prepared for what nature has in store for us. See you in the next video.